After 22 seasons and 500 episodes,
Naruto Shippuden's epic run has come to a close.
Can you believe we started airing the uncut versions way back in 2014?
Wow. The Naruto series is inarguably one of the best animes of all time.
And even though the Hurricane Chronicles are done,
Shippuden will forever be in our hearts.
if we have hearts.
Yep. Now, on with the show.
On the next all-new episode of Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Swordsmith Village.
I don't know what's going on with Genya, but thanks to him, I figured something out. Even if we behead all four at the same time, we can't finish them off like we did Gyutaro. Something's off. That scent I caught for an instant, that was the scent of another demon!
Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Swordsmith Village. Next Saturday at 12:30 a.m. Only Toonami on Adult Swim.
Hello everyone, welcome to Toonami Therapy on September 3rd, 2024. I'm Michael.
Yeah, hello, I'm Tommy.
And this is our podcast, Toonami Therapy, where we talk about anime we've been watching, various tangents, and even Toonami shows. Yep, so I guess there's no real new news that I know about, like what we're going to be getting. I mean, I know this week I think we're just getting a second One Piece episode to replace Naruto. We'll see what ends up happening there, I guess. I mean, like if they bring in another thing to replace it or whatever, maybe that's when they'll be doing Uzumaki for next week, because I don't think next in a few weeks, because I don't think anything else is ending soon.
Yeah.
Or maybe the Demon Slayer is, how many episodes are there again? Let me see. Okay, we got through episode 48. There's 7 episodes left of this season, I think. So yeah, we're still a decent amount of ways. Okay. So, I guess we can just get into it. So we've got Rick and Morty, the anime, episode 3. I don't know how to describe what happened in this episode because I'm not exactly sure what happened in this episode. It's like we got there's all this stuff with all these Morty, and I'm like, okay, we're seeing Morty with this girl, and we're seeing Morty talking to Rick, and I think there might be another thing we see Morty doing, and I'm like, okay, are these in different like time periods? Like, you know, this bit is a flashback, and this is what we're seeing in the present. If so, which one is which? Or are these not different times and they're different universes? Because this series has different universes. Is that what's going on with those? I don't know. Do I just not have a high enough IQ to understand Rick and Morty, the anime? Because I can understand the regular show. Sorry, what do you say?
I said low enough IQ. You need a lower IQ to understand Rick and Morty.
Well, the anime at least.
Well, that we watched a episode of the what was it? What season were we watching?
I think it was the one. I think this was season 3, the one we saw. It was the one with with like the president and them getting into a conflict with him.
Yeah, and that I found quite entertaining, but again, you need a lower IQ to be able to enjoy this stuff. So
it definitely keep going.
No, I said maybe.
Okay. I do think the series that watching them right next to each other, because they air regular Rick and Morty just before this, did kind of just make it feel, this feels just so different, because regular Rick and Morty, I've seen a few episodes before this, it's like a sort of wacky dark comedy series, and this one is like almost like it's trying to be, I guess, artistic, for lack of a better word. I mean, like, the best thing from this episode was that felt the most like the original series is the part where Rick is trying to sell, like, the president some stuff. You know, which is funny because the episode we just saw, it was called The Rick-Churian Morty Date, was one with the president character. So, and that actually really felt like a bit more like the series, and the rest of it is just like, I don't know. This is just, yeah. I don't know what else to say about it other than I'm just kind of left wondering, because it just feels very different from the series, and I would have had no problem if it was just Rick and Morty with a more sort of anime feel, but it really does just, it feel kind of like people knew the general premise of Rick and Morty and tried to make a series. Except it can't just be that, because there's stuff in this that shows more familiarity with the series. Like, there's things referenced that like don't happen until later on in the original series. So yeah, I don't know. It's weird, and I don't really know what else to say about this episode.
Yeah, I'm not a subs guy, so not having the dub hurts it in my eyes. Like, if we had Dubcast doing it, like, it's on what, Thursday or something?
Yeah, the dub airs on Thursday, and then Toonami airs the sub.
Yeah, I think because they think we're more sophisticated or something. But I don't seem to connect with it the way I seem to enjoy the season 3 one, which aired immediately before this. So yeah, I just feel like I don't get it, you know?
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's just, the fact is, this is clearly well, I just feel like I'm just saying the general things I've said before, but it feels like, because if you don't know Rick and Morty, this series will be even more incomprehensible to you than it already is. But at the same time, it feels so different from the original series. You're left wondering, who is this for? Is basically my question.
Yeah.
So I don't know. At least the preview made the next one look like it might be a little more like the original series. So we'll see how that goes. Because yeah, I like what I've seen of the original series. I've liked a lot more than this. I'm not wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of the original series. Some of like the humor is a little like more adult or edgy than I kind of like, but I like it a lot more than this, definitely. All right. So after that, we move on to Demon Slayer episode 48. Okay. So in this episode, they're trying to, they're fighting the demons, and there's I can't remember exactly. I know there's like 3 different demons, but were the demons originally like that one demon and they split apart into 3, or is this a different demon than the one that was splitting apart when they were cutting it? Can't remember exactly which one that was. Anyway, there's a whole lot of fighting there. They with the demons, and well, not doing too great, even when Nezuko decides, oh yeah, I'm a character in the series, I should help out. And yeah, then there's this episode was kind of mostly a bunch of fighting. So I don't really know too much else to say beyond that.
Yeah, I don't think this was one of my favorite Demon Slayer episodes. In fact, I feel like this season so far hasn't. How many episodes are we in? Three, four,
4.
four? Yeah, yeah. I haven't liked it as much as I liked the arc before it. Uh, I I like Tanjiro's friends, and the fact that they aren't here makes this kind of just not as entertaining. So yeah, I feel like if we had Nosuke acting crazy, maybe this would be more entertaining. But yeah. And by the way, what's funny is that Nezuko actually has a voice actress, even though she doesn't get to speak really. So I find that amusing. Um,
Well, she's talking like flashbacks and stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You have to have a voice actress just in case. Um, Now, how does that work with Nezuko? The thing in her mouth, like she has the thing in her mouth, and that stops her from becoming a demon, correct?
I think it's just there to make sure that she doesn't like, bite anyone or anything like that. Um although I'm actually not 100% sure exactly why she has it on, given the fact she appears to be able to control things, well, except for that time I think in the previous episode when she lost in the previous season when she lost control, but I think it's just kind of there as a guard of some sort, basically.
See, I was under the impression that, like, if she doesn't have it in her mouth, then she turns into a demon. So she has to have it in her mouth at all times, or else she's going to get loose.
Well, she's already like a demon. She's just not gone totally evil yet, because I don't know if we got a specific plot reason for that. It's not. I think, yeah, I think there were some other demons we met who were actually decent. So I can't remember the specifics. It's been a very long time since I saw the first season.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Just wondering.
I think it was. I don't think it's a matter of it comes off. She like becomes feral. I think it's just supposed to be there to try to help her, contain the demon instincts or whatever, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It still bugs me that they use the word demon, because it's like Oni. That's not a demon. Like a lot of the times when they say demon in anime, that's not the original Japanese name is not demon. It's Oni or yokai, which have pretty different connotations than demon does.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Inuyasha, it was the yokai. That's like kind of a more generic Japanese term for, like, sort of magical, like, beasts and stuff. And Oni,
Monster.
what?
Monster.
Yeah, kind of like that, but like more like a general thing, sort of like fairies and goblins and
Mm-hmm.
elves, like all of those things could kind of be considered a yokai. There
I see.
is my understanding, at least. It's kind of a more general term. It's why a bunch of series that have yokai have very different interpretations of them, and that's the same for like Oni also. Like they say,
Mm-hmm.
like for example, here they call them Oni, but then you like look at like ReZero, like Rem and Ram. They're called Oni in the original, but the English one just calls them demons. I mean, technically, Oni, I guess the more a translation that might better approach English is ogre, but it's not 100% thing. I just kind of
Mm-hmm.
feel like just leave yokai and oni untranslated. Just there isn't a perfect English equivalent. Just call them that and only use demon for the actual word for demon. What was it, like akuma, something like that? In some cases, that's the case. Like I think Misfit of Demon King Academy. I think that's the actual word for demon. So that's my problem, because they just translate all these words as demon. The distinctions between them get lost.
Yeah.
And honestly, the demons in Demon Slayer really feel more like vampires than anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got fangs. They consume blood. They can turn other people into them, and they get if you let's see, you the normal way to beat them is by decapitation. And they die to sunlight. Now, okay, granted, the decapitation, you usually, like in Western things, vampires are more like, stake through the heart, but decapitation is another way, that is another sort of common way to kill vampires, even in Western, things. Okay. So, yeah. And I'm sorry if people are hearing some Skype noises. I don't know exactly what's happening with those. Am I getting alerts to some? Yeah, I need to figure out a way to turn them off. I haven't been getting them before, but like it looks like things like, hey, you're giving me some like random bit of news or whatever. So sorry to everyone if you're getting...
I haven't heard anything, so.
Oh, you wouldn't hear it because it's from my computer, so it's so I'm hearing it. At first I was wondering if it was something from your end, but then I realized it's mine. So I just wanted to mention that for anyone who listens to it and hasn't already zoned out due to my talk about vampires and oni and yokai. Okay. So, all right, I don't have too much else to say about Demon Slayer. I agree that on the whole, I haven't really been liking this as much as the previous arc. I think people generally don't consider this as good. I was just checking on my anime list, and the previous arc is ranked with 874. And this one is 8.21, so still kind of high, but you can definitely see a decrease in it, which is usually notable, I think, when it goes down in a new season, because generally speaking, the people who keep watching are the ones who like the series, so that usually is more notable to me than if it goes up for another season.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we got that. After that, we've gotten One Piece episode 682. And in this episode, let's see, what exactly did happen in this episode? Okay, so basically those other Sabo and I don't know, the girl who was with him are going off to do other things because I guess the plot is done with them for now. Well, actually, no, we do actually see, I mean, the main plot is done. They're still going and they're trying to investigate some things and fighting some people. Doflamingo has a meeting with his his minions, I guess. And then the other characters end up running into the Navy guy, the sort of blind dude, and I think that's basically the stuff that happened.
Yeah, it managed to pad things out at the beginning by re-sewing that thing of how many stars each person was worth. So it did a good job at making sure things were padded out. But overall, I felt like this was a very dull episode. And yeah, I wish I had better things to say about it, but this one I was just kind of like, hurry up and let's get through this so we can get the Naruto. So yeah.
All right, yeah. Well, maybe we should take that attitude towards our discussion event and just move on to Naruto. All right, so let's see. We basically have, let's see. Right, Naruto episode 100. So in this one, we finally, after a whole lot of episodes, actually see Naruto, who, meets with the Iruka and they interact some, and Iruka kind of gets annoyed at him for some things. Then Iruka talks to Hinata. We end up doing, he ends up Iruka gets the message that he wants to, because Konohamaru gets that video thing he was making where everyone is going saying, "Hey, congratulations!"
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Something's breaking up.
Oh,
it's breaking up. Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. All right. If that happens again, I might try to change some things. Anyway. So to get through that, everyone gets all the congratulations, and everyone gives Naruto all the congratulations. They then Naruto and Hinata just go off and walk down the thing to start to get married, and then the episode just ends on that note, I guess.
Yeah, so we're promised this big wedding between Naruto and Hinata, and everyone's going to be there at the wedding. And oh yeah, we never got to it. Nope, we never got to see the wedding or everyone getting to be at their wedding. We just get a cutoff right there, right whenever they're about to go in, and that's it. So yeah, real letdown here for this arc, because the whole arc led up to this wedding, so you think we would have gotten to see it, but instead we don't get to see it. So I feel like they cheated, like they deceived me by making me think, okay, as long as I can make it through these last few episodes, then we're going to get to see Naruto and Hinata get married, and it's going to be all nice. We're going to get to see all the characters show up for him. Well, all we really get instead is that congratulations video, which you correctly pointed out was kind of like the one Shinji Ikari gets at the end of Evangelion when everyone congratulates him, including a penguin. And this was just this was so disappointing, such a letdown. And I feel like it didn't feel like as much like a final episode should be. Like it felt like a final episode because I knew it was the final episode. But if I didn't know it was the final episode, I would have been like, okay, I'll watch next week to see what happens next. But there is no more episodes. So very empty feeling this left me with, and I hate finales with empty feelings. And that's one of those things where, for me, like the finale is like twice as important as the 10 episodes before it. It has to be a good finish, or else I'm not going to feel good about your show. So you know this better than anyone. You know, if I I really I really get upset whenever finales aren't good, and conversely, I get really happy when finales are good. So this was a bad one, and um, I'm very disappointed, and I kind of want to see that movie you were talking about because people were talking about it online saying that Toonami really ought to show that movie that you mentioned, which I think explains how Naruto and Hinata found love, I guess. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's called The Last Naruto the Movie, which is kind of a weird title. I mean, like you say the last, but I'm not sure, but I'm going to assume there's more Naruto movies of some kind. But yeah, that's what it's called. That came out in 2014, which weirdly was actually before the previous. I think even before the previous season. Let me check. Yeah, 2014, like the previous season when they were like still, fighting all the enemies and they hadn't even gotten to the like thing that was and they hadn't even gotten to like, the original conclusion. I think its timing was probably based more on the manga. I think the manga ended around that time. Let me just check on that quick.
Well, I know there was an Inuyasha movie. I think the second Inuyasha movie like showed the events of like after the series was over. So it was like, yeah, that there's I think it was the second Inuyasha movie that was like, okay, here's what happens at the end, and then the next two Inuyasha movies were like back during the anime again. So yeah, that was really weird.
I checked. So the last Naruto the movie came out in dang, I just had it right open. It came out in December of 2014. Naruto the manga ended in November of 2014. So its timing was with the manga. It was to like it came out the month after the manga ended, so that was the reason for its timing. It's also apparently considered actually canon, unlike all the other movies. So yeah, it does focus on that. I don't really mind them kind of skipping. I think if you look at this final bit of this final season, all the wedding stuff, it's despite it being about Naruto and Hinata's wedding, when you look at it, I don't think this arc is really supposed to be about them. It's supposed to just be about all the other characters and how this sort of thing affects them and an excuse to show more of them and that sort of stuff. So I think if you look at it like this, it works a little better. So because you're like, yeah, you don't see much of Naruto because it's actually not about Naruto, even if it does revolve around him. It's about the other characters and reacting to this sort of thing. But on the whole, this final season it just felt really unnecessary, which makes some sense because the previous season ended where the manga did. Well, it didn't adapt the epilogue chapter, which is kind of weird. You would think you would end the anime on that, but I guess they didn't. Heck, they could have. Why not just put the epilogue as the last episode? You could have moved it here. You could have had the epilogue thing happen after this and be the final episode of the Naruto Shippuden anime. But I think all they did was they took some of the stuff from it and like put it into Boruto episodes. Because the epilogue is the one where it like cuts forward like I don't know, a number of years. Naruto's Hokage. It shows the it focuses mostly on like the sort of next generation. Boruto, Sarada, some of the other characters, and and in doing so manages to make a bunch of shippers very happy and a bunch of shippers very annoyed and a bunch of shippers very confused as to who some of the characters, as to who Choji even ended up with. They're trying to say, who is this character? But yeah, I thought that was a pretty decent final chapter. As I heard someone react to it when it came out, they said, I love this chapter for all the right and wrong reasons. That was my thoughts on it also. So yeah, just a weird thing to end the anime on. I think if they weren't going to do it before, they should have just done the epilogue as a final episode. Maybe to make it full episode length, you might just add some stuff, maybe pad a few things out. I mean, call over the One Piece writers. They've made it an art form. So, but that's the thing. It's just a very weird thing to end the anime on. It just felt like a kind of unnecessary final season because, it's just, oh, hey, we're adapting this extra material. We're doing this stuff. And yeah, I think it really should have just ended at the end of the previous season where the manga ended, because that's why the manga ended there.
Well, if you're going to build up that marriage, though, you have to show it. I mean, you can't have the wedding, and you can't have the episode before the wedding where they say, okay, we're going to be doing stuff during this wedding. You can't say that and then never show that happening, I like if they were going to build that up, they should have built it up so that we at least got to see how they interacted at the wedding, but we don't get that. So I just feel like something was missing.
Yeah, well, the downside is that weddings are usually kind of boring anyway. But we could have had like a montage or something at least, of things that happened. That could have been that would have been something that could have worked. But other than that, weddings are, to be honest, usually are kind of boring unless something happens to interrupt it. Like when the minister or priest or whoever's saying it, like, well, does anyone object? And then someone objects into it. My favorite version of that was this one episode of The King of Queens I happened to see where one of the characters finds out his old girlfriend is getting married and decides, oh, wait, I need to talk to her. I think I'm still in love with her. So they end up going to the wedding, and a bunch of wacky hijinks ensue, and they just manage to get there just in time. The guy's saying the line, if will anyone object, let them now, or whoever hold their peace. He's about to say something, and then another guy there stands up and declares he's in love with her, and she runs off with him. So that was yeah, jokes on that thing.
Yeah, my favorite one was Garfield. Whenever he thought that John was marrying a woman, and it turned out it wasn't. The woman wasn't marrying John Arbuckle. She was marrying someone else with the same name, John. And so Garfield goes and dresses up as a baby and starts making messes and stuff and making a big riot and stuff, trying to show that John already had a baby. But it turned out that the guy whose name was also John, he just thought Garfield was the funniest thing. So everything worked out, and she got married, and Garfield didn't really get in trouble. So that was my favorite with that. Whenever I say I want them to show the wedding, I'm not saying I want them to show the ceremony. Like there's there's a lot more to weddings than just the ceremony. But yeah, I feel like we missed out on something that could have been a better way for it to go out. But at least Naruto got to say the final line, even though I feel bad for Hinata because she didn't get to say anything. But whenever we had it the previous season and Sasuke got the final line, which which I was like, yeah, that shouldn't happen.
Okay, so that's it for Naruto Shippuden. The final season unfortunately felt like a lot of Shippuden, in which it was just kind of a bunch of unnecessary filler and padding. Not to say the source material didn't drag its final arc on a lot either, but Shippuden made it worse. I still, man, we kind of skipped over it, but I still just remember how Enid, they had like some villains that, they had really kind of focused on, and they'd been important things throughout so much of the series. And then like in the last 40 chapters or something, this new villain just shows up and like beats both of them. It's like, hey, I'm the new villain now. And then they have to beat Kaguya. And it's just so weird. Okay. That's it, I guess, for Naruto Shippuden. We'll be getting a second episode of One Piece at least for a while, so hey, maybe, it'll feel more like things happen in it.
Yeah.
All right. That's it for the regular Toonami stuff. Let's move on to Spice and Wolf, Merchant Meets the Wise Wolf, episodes 11 and 12.
Okay, so they have to go out on their journey, and Polo gets separated because she's going to go and do her wolf stuff. And then Lawrence gets attacked, and Lawrence is all beaten up and stuff. And then Polo comes back to save him. And then they kind of reveal to the shepherd that Polo is the wolf. And then we get some nonsense where Polo's mad at Lawrence for some reason that I don't get. And I think it's supposed to be a romantic / humorous scene, but I didn't take it as either. But yeah, so basically Lawrence survives and I think he gets his money back, and I think he's no longer bankrupt. And thanks to Holo. But Holo could treat him a little better, especially after he got beat up as much as he did. I feel like she could be a little nicer. But yeah, overall, I thought the first episode was better than the second one. But yeah, I did feel these were pretty good.
Unfortunately, I can't say which one I thought was better because I can't even remember at what point they split because I just watched them together. Let's see. What did I have thoughts on? Well, unfortunately, I was really annoyed because like the merchant guy there who's coming with them, who ends up betraying them, so I hear his voice and I'm like, okay, I've heard that before. What is it? Except he's such a minor character, I can't find information about who voiced him. So that was a little annoying there. But honestly, I wasn't too huge on this. I'm kind of glad we finished with this. I guess you could call it the bankruptcy arc, because on the whole, I didn't really care for it too much. I'm kind of like, okay, I'm glad we're done with this and we can move on.
I thought it was I like the Holo becoming a wolf part, but then whenever she went back to being a human again, or whatever you would call her, her acting all nasty towards Lawrence, I wasn't very big fan of that. I know it was supposed to be romantic, but I didn't take it that way. So,
I mean, I did find it funny when she was asking him, so whose name did you call out, mine or Nora's, at this point? And Lawrence is just saying, well, it probably was yours because Holo is easier to say than Nora. And because he can't remember exactly, so that bit was kind of funny. Yeah, well, we're at least, well, he's no longer in debt. That's all resolved. So I guess we'll see what happens next, because I'll be honest, I have no idea where the plot is going now, because we just completely solved the plot that we were having. So I guess we'll see. I guess he'll just go and try to sell some more stuff, and we'll see how that continues.
yeah.
All right. After that, we've got Full Metal Panic Invisible Victory Episode 4.
Okay, so Sosuke is trying to save Kyoko, and basically what he's able to do is use his robot to go and save Kyoko, sort of, but Kyoko still gets injured. Then Konami comes out and they're like, okay, we can, it's like, you could either save Sosuke but have Konami go away, or Konami to be fine and Sosuke to get killed. So Konami makes the big sacrifice choice to make it so that she gets captured and that Sosuke is able to survive. But then Sosuke makes the big promise that he's going to go and save her, and that's how it ends. While my description of the episode is very cliche, I really did enjoy this episode, actually. I like some of the humor in it, and I enjoyed the fake people who, like the fake teacher who ended up helping out Sosuke, even though I have no idea who that was supposed to be, if that was just a character who just showed up this episode. But I was laughing a lot during this episode. I thought it was pretty humorous. I enjoyed it pretty good, actually.
I think we might have seen the fake teacher person at the end of the previous season, but I'm not sure. I know there was some female character we were introduced to that we hadn't seen before, so that might have been her, but I can't remember exactly what she looked like. Well, on the whole, I thought this was a big improvement over the previous episode.
Yeah.
There's also, I can't remember, what's the name of the old guy? The old guy who's on their side, the one who seemed like he was making the sacrifice while it went on ahead.
Colin or something.
Yeah, something like that. Well, we didn't see him die, so we know he's alive.
Yeah, we don't have confirmation then. Though, couldn't we say the same thing about Garon? Like, we could assume that maybe whenever Sosuke was shooting, he was missing at point blank range, and he somehow still survived.
I can't remember. Did we see his body after he got shot a bunch?
No, we never saw. We just saw Sosuke shooting like crazy, but you never know. Sosuke could have missed from point blank range. So
I'll accept him as dead. There's a difference between a character just disappearing, and there's a difference between what you would call like the gore discretion shot and the the just straight up not seeing anything. Because after he says, I'll buy you time, and they get separated, we don't see him again. It's not a matter like we see the bad guy, go up to him and be about to shoot, and then we cut away or something. That I could see is more real, but we just don't see him again. So he's alive. You can be pretty sure. Okay. So yeah, this was a pretty solid episode. I guess Sosuke is fortunate that Leo is actually an honest villain because after Kaname decides to go with them and he kind of grabs her, he doesn't say, "Well, okay, see you, Sosuke," and shoot him anyway. I kind of might have liked, maybe he is just an honest bad guy. Maybe that's it. But I kind of maybe would have liked to have some explanation for exactly how that worked. But yeah, we got plot progress. Things happened much more interesting than the previous one. Also, we do have. I am curious about next episode because when you look at the episode on Crunchyroll, of course, it always like shows a sort of preview thumbnail PNG for its episodes, and if you look at them, a bunch of them has like this orange-haired girl in it. I've been wondering, who is this character? So I guess we'll find out next episode.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to really say about it. Yeah, pretty solid episode. All right, then we got Yu Yu Hakusho episodes 4 and 5. So, in basically these episodes, what happens in the fourth one is where they basically Yusuke's there ends up being this sort of fire in the place, and so to skip through to the important stuff.
I'm losing you.
Oh, am I okay now?
Yeah, better now.
Okay. Where was I then?
I'm sorry. I couldn't hear you. So
no,
sure.
that's fine. If we're having internet issues, I wonder if there's some way to test who is having them. That's a tricky thing about this sort of thing. All right. Basically, Yusuke's house gets on fire, and it's, on fire because some firebug, arsonist set it on other things on fire. Keiko tries to get his body out because, you don't want it to get burnt up, but is having a lot of trouble with it. Yusuke, makes a sacrifice of, hey, I got the egg thing he had. He decides to hatch it, and that protects her, but removes his method of coming back to life. Although it does mention that, all the negative emotions you were having actually made it so that it would have turned out to be a monster to eat you. So, good thing you actually did that, which actually makes me think, so basically the arsonist guy essentially saved Yusuke because he wouldn't have done that if not for the fire. Anyway, so after that, we find out, oh, no, wait, no, there's actually another way for him to come back. Don't worry. And makes you wonder, oh, Koenma, you couldn't have mentioned this before? Anyway, apparently he just needs to, they need to, do something to make it so his soul and his body will resonate right, and they need someone who cares about him to kiss him, except he's having trouble with, getting the people to do it. Eventually, Botan is able to, when Keiko's with her mother who's in the hospital, Botan has, because she's unconscious, has her say, hey, you should go and help Yusuke. So she goes over, does the kiss just in time. Yusuke's back. And then, now that he's back, he ends up basically, now I guess he can see, I can't remember if they were demons or ghosts or whatever, but he ends up finding one of them is basically forcing Kuwabara to do stuff by blackmailing him by threatening to kill his cat. Yusuke manages to resolve that and catch the demon or whatever it is, and Botan shows up and, mentions, yeah, by the way, now you're like spirit detective of Earth or something like that, so you're going to have to be doing stuff like that. And yeah, that was basically the episodes that happened. Yusuke's back. Episode 5 called Yusuke's Back. That's actually the name of it.
Yeah, so I really like Botan, and I think the reason I like her is because of that accent she has. Like, I can't figure out what accent that even is, but
It's British.
yeah, she reminds me of the old Luna from Sailor Moon, um, who's now just Rukia. Um, yeah, I really liked that first episode. I thought that was very entertaining, very funny. And the second one wasn't bad either, but not as good as the first one. So, yeah, overall, I'd say these are very good episodes, and I keep on enjoying this show. I also really like the opening theme song.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good, and apparently a lot of other people really like it too. So, yeah.
Yeah, Smile Bomb's a pretty popular one. They even dubbed it in English. If you watch the dub, you hear it in English, which is and it's a pretty good cover too. I do. I think it's also the theme song for the whole series, which is kind of nice because so many series just, they just every 13 episodes switch up the theme song, which sometimes
Right.
is, I mean, sometimes it's for the better because, because it was only the second Unlimited Blade Work theme song that was Brave Shine. But a lot of times it just kind of takes what seemed like an iconic opening and then it's just, switches to something else.
Yeah, well, didn't Hunter x Hunter have the same opening song pretty much? Like, pretty much, not the exact, but it had the same departure theme throughout, just a little remixed and stuff. But yeah, it had the same thing, and that's who this guy is, right? This is the Hunter x Hunter guy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Yes. I just looked up Hunter x Hunter. Yep, it says the anime series opening theme is alternated between the song Departure and an alternate version called Departure Second Version. The second version. It just reminds me of like Sharknado 2, the second one. That was the title of the sequel. I mean, the people who made Sharknado knew what they were doing. So they knew this series, the movie was nonsense deliberately. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it was fun, and now Yusuke's returned, so we'll get more with that. I'm kind of. It didn't take quite as long as I thought. I remembered it. I thought it took longer, but nope. Episode 5, he's already back. I think the manga. I didn't really read the manga, but I heard he was actually dead for a longer period. There was just some kind of random stuff he did, and the anime sort of cut past some of that, which probably was for the better. So, yeah, that's Yu Yu Hakusho. We've got more episodes next. And, yeah, we'll move on. Was there anything else I wanted to say? Nope, that's it. All right. Sailor Moon, episodes 20 and 21.
Yeah, I'm having a hard. Okay. There's the one where they go to the beach, and whenever they're out there on the beach, they have to stay at this haunted hotel where this girl is like a psychic or something, or she's being hypnotized, and basically they go and they save her, and everything turns out okay. And I don't remember what happens next. Do you remember?
That was the one where, well, it's basically the same plot we've seen over and
Yeah.
over, where Nephrite is like, hey, here's this thing, and it will make you act like a jerk, and it'll absorb your energy, and then it'll turn into a monster. The main characters will fight it, except this time it's about someone who was working in anime, or as they always say in this episode,
That's
anime.
right. That's right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
just the same thing as always, really. I'll say, like, the monster was especially kind of lame this episode, because they mentioned, there's two monsters and they work really well together, and they're like, yeah, we're so strong, and then they get into an argument and separate, and then they're easily beaten and go, we should have valued our friendship more. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of a random way for you to lose. I don't think the main characters even manipulated them or anything. It's just like, okay, well, we don't like each other anymore randomly. Oh no, now we lost our powers and we're beaten.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's the same thing you've seen how many times now? Like 5 at least.
Yeah, at least that many.
I mean, technically you can say we've seen more, this general thing with the monsters more, but, when Nephrite took over, it's a little different because he just does it to one person, whereas Jada was like, here's my sinister plan to try to do stuff to a bunch of people. So that's a little different. I'll say I liked the first episode more than the second because it was something different. There wasn't like some monster that attacked. The villains weren't involved. It's just, hey, we just go to this place and we, there's actually a psychic person there and we deal with this stuff. But no, there's like not an evil monster, at least not of. Well, actually, I think there was like an evil ghost or whatever. But I mean, it's like, it's not like something from the Dark Kingdom or whatever the bad guys are called.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't have too much else to say about that. So, yeah, I guess if it matters, this episode was this was apparently not in the original dub. I'm not sure exactly why, but it is here. No, really, I don't know why. I don't understand what reason they skipped over it. I mean, you can say, beach episode, but, well, first, there's not much fan service in it, and second, there's not anything here worse, really, than the rest of the show so far. So
yeah, like the magical stuff. I don't know. Maybe the hypnotism thing.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I'm not sure, but I guess that's how all that ends up being. So yeah, I don't have anything else to really say about that. Yeah, okay, I guess we can move on. So we've got Naruto episode 26. It's a clip show. I don't really have anything else to say about it.
And it was more about Sasuke than it was about Naruto.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, like everything had to do with Sasuke.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yep. We just just a recap episode, clip show, whatever you want to call it. Oh, I meant to mention this before, but just for the record, the next episode of Full Metal Panic is actually a recap episode. Episode 4.5, just skip over it to episode 5.
Okay, so what are we doing with that?
I just assumed we were going to skip over the recap episode and just go to episode 5.
Okay, thanks for letting me know. Yeah, that helps.
The recap's not like even dubbed or anything, so.
Oh, okay.
That's how you know. That's how you especially know it's not important, because they didn't even bother to dub it. Like, they dubbed this one. The Shangri-La Frontier dubbed this recap episode, which was actually a really good episode, surprisingly.
Yeah, it was. That was.
That's how you tell. Did they bother to dub it? All right, then if not, just skip through it because you're not going to get anything else out of it. That's the general rule of thumb. Especially because the fact it's just recapping the previous 4 episodes, apparently. And then there's another recap episode later on in the Full Metal Bat this season to recap episodes 5 through 8.
Oh man.
We do still get 12 whole episodes in that season though, so it's just they added 2 recap episodes. But just a note to that, we'll be skipping over episode 4.5.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, anything else to say about Naruto?
No.
Okay, then we got Dragon Ball Z Kai episode, let's see, 21. Goku gets a spaceship and takes off in space and decides he's going to do a bunch of training before they get to Namek by going into, I can't remember how high he set the gravity. I know it could go up to 100, but did he actually set it to 100 or did he just set it to 10 or 20? I think it was 20. Anyway.
I wouldn't remember.
Okay. And we go back to Gohan and Krillin, who are watching, Frieza and his minions trying to get the Dragon Ball from a Namekian village. The Namekians are strong enough to be like the sort of lesser Frieza's minions, but not so well against, Frieza and, what are their names? Zarbon and Dodoria. And so, yeah, but the Namekians do manage to destroy the scouters to prevent them from finding the other villages. And, yeah, that's basically where we end, with them still fighting and Dodoria, I guess, about to kill the other Namekians.
Yeah.
Kind of a straightforward episode, although we did have some kind of funny stuff with Goku, like where where this Bulma's father is saying, "Well, it's almost ready," and Goku's like, "Oh, well, what needs to be done?" He says, "Well, I haven't found the right place to put the stereo speakers." So that was kind of funny. We do see, I can't remember. I know we saw Frieza before, but I can't remember if we actually saw him say much. I do like Frieza's character, the way he's just always, the way he's constantly polite to everyone, even when he's, like threatening them and killing them mercilessly. He's always pretty polite, which is kind of I just like that trait of him. The fact he always acts like that, it just makes him a bit more memorable.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I don't have too much else to say about it. And that's it for Dragon Ball Z Kai. And that's it for all the episodes that we watched for this week. I guess we can just give our weekly rankings of the 3 that we liked the most.
Okay, so third place this week will be Spice and Wolf. Second place this week will be Full Metal Panic. And Yu Yu Hakusho wins first place for me.
Okay, for me, as always, I come in here and I suddenly am like, well, yeah, what should I pick? I think I'm going to just go with... I'm tempted to, say, oh, I should put Naruto on it because it's the last episode. But no, you don't. You get a little leeway for being the final episode, but not this much leeway. So I'm going to say Demon Slayer in third, Yu Yu Hakusho in second, Full Metal Panic in first.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Anything else to discuss?
No, that's pretty much about it for me.
Okay, and yeah, that's pretty much it for me also. So we'll be I guess seeing you next week. Same lineup of shows. We got 2 Spice and Wolf. We got 2 Yu Yu Hakusho, 1 Full Metal Panic. We'll probably be adding some new shows soon enough, so we'll probably be bringing those back down to 1 per week. But for now, 2 per week. So,
Yep.
and yeah, I guess if we have nothing else to say, that'll be that, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Summer is over and the days are getting darker. What can make life bright again, you ask? Cartoons, you say.
Wow! Honey!
With an hour of Cartoon Planet every Monday.
Run for your lives, everybody! He's gonna blow!
And still we watch. And still we sleep.
This almost makes me wish Billy was here.
Check Real Past, Monday through Thursday starting at 5. Only on Adult Swim.
My future dream is to be the greatest Hokage!
This is what I've been training for.
For over 25 years, Toonami has been dropping the finest action cartoons on the planet.
Believe it!
The target has moved. Follow it.
Now we're taking you back to where it all began.
That's awesome.
We should go check it out! Are you ready?
Toonami Rewind. Every Friday from 5 to 7 p.m.
Show me what you got.
Let's go!
Adults love it.